The saxophone is not an instrument with a definite reach anymore. All the greats are searching for the boundaries of their instruments. I would advise you to do exactly the same. Learning to play the Altissimo register will improve your sound, your technique, and your hearing. I already started to play the Altissimo register when I was introduced to the overtones long time ago. And then I went for it, but it took a very long time before I integrated the Altissimo register into my playing. The first Altissimo tone you want to learn is the high F. The trick is to learn to hear the tone. When we're playing saxophone, there's a lot of automatic things going on in our throat, in our abdomen, in our mouth, in the embouchure. There's a lot of muscles that needs to be relaxed. Your throat has to be relaxed and open. Your embouchure has to be relatively relaxed. Your fingers, your shoulders, your arms, and so on. You need to have a lot of power from your abdomen to push this air through. All this is put into effect when you start hearing the tones. Your body starts to regulate. I want this sound. And then the body starts to figuring out, hey, I need to do this to produce this sound. When you learn to hear this, your brain does amazing stuff. Start by learning the overtone F. Because the overtone F is sounding when you play the low B flat. You need to work hearing the F because you're playing a B flat, but you actually have to produce an F. You just let your abdomen, your throat, your embouchure, your tongue do the work. But you need incredible power from your abdomen, airstream. You do not need to push all your air through the saxophone in one time, but you need to control a steady airstream. A great way to train your airstream is playing the low B flat as long as you possibly can. Your throat needs to be open. Train this by breathing in and breathing out with a completely open mouth like you see me doing here. Opening your mouth also opens your throat. I'm not going to take you through all the overtones at this moment. This is for another video I actually made. Check it out in the description of this video. So we'll go directly on the row of overtones towards the F. When you reach the overtone F, start interchanging it with the normal fingering of the F, the high F. Now it's time to introduce the first Altissimo fingering, the F, the fork finger F, fork finger, like a small fork. Now do the exact same exercise from the overtone F to the normal F to the fork finger F. Try to change these around, interchange them with each other and have that sound in mind. That's the most important thing, that you keep your embouchure, you keep your abdomen, you keep your throat at the same position, just blowing air out through the saxophone. You want to do this exact same exercise for the first three Altissimo tones you need to learn. The F sharp and the G. The second overtone, the F sharp, comes from the B. The third overtone, the G, comes from playing the C. You see the diagrams at the overtone and then at the false fingering or the Altissimo register fingering. Do the same for the G. You're playing the G overtone and then you're adding the Altissimo fingering for the G. When doing these exercises, keep your embouchure, your throat, your abdomen at the same position. Keep it straight. Focus on the airstream and the open throat. That's the most important things. Train the Altissimo register with the combination of the other things you are training anyways. The basic things you do in the normal register, you can take these all into the Altissimo register. What really works for me is taking something I really know well, something that's really clear. For example, a triad. Play, for example, the B-flat triad in the normal register. Then play the B-flat triad an octave up with the normal high F fingering. Now change the high F fingering to the fork finger Altissimo register. You also need to get used to play articulation and rhythm in the top. Sometimes when you change these things, the rhythm and the articulation, use your tongue a lot. So you need to keep the airflow going in the high register with your tongue going. Add rhythm, any rhythm do. Taking the B triad, first low, then high, using first the normal F sharp if you have an F sharp fingering, and then using the F sharp Altissimo fingering. The same with the C triad, the C, E, G, and the high G. You can play that with the altissimo fingering too. When I practice stuff, I always need to get it into my ear first. Play the stuff you want to get into the altissimo register in the normal register first, and then move it up in the altissimo. Why? Because the altissimo register is very easy to influence with your embouchure or your throat or your abdomen or your airspeed. So if you do not hear the sound you're wanting to play, you can hit any sound basically. You need to develop speed in the altissimo register. Take up some exercises you know really well. For example, the major scales. I like to play my major scales to the 9th. If you take an E flat major scale to the 9th, it's a high F. Just go up that scale in the high register, pick that F and then go back. You can do this with the E major scale too. You hit that high F sharp as an altissimo register. The F major scale, the G is the 9th here. You hit that G and you can use the F as an altissimo register tone too. When you're playing the altissimo register, remember that you need your fingers close to the horn. Don't let them fly all over the place. You see me, I try really hard to have my fingers as close to the horn for the speed. But think about that this is not the ordinary movements you need from one finger lifting and then the other one. No, you really need new fingerings for these ones. You have to learn these fingerings very well. Especially when you need to take a turn in the altissimo register. You need to be very careful, you need to move your fingers very fast. I'm moving up these scales to train this turn. Here's the B flat major scale to the 5th. The B major scale. The C major scale. I would definitely also take some jazz and bebop lines to move them up into the altissimo register. A nice E flat minor, A flat 7 line where I'm hitting that high F. And an E minor 7, A7 where I'm hitting that F sharp. You definitely need to take all the lines you're used to playing, all the exercise you're used to playing, because you want to have the altissimo register as an integrated part of your playing. You need this to be normal playing. Another couple of exercises making turns in the altissimo register. This is the B flat bebop scale and the A7 bebop scale. I really like huge arpeggios, so you're taking arpeggios over 2 or 3 octaves. This is altissimo, great to integrate the low part, the middle part and the high part of the saxophone. If you're doing this, you really get it into your playing and playing one sound. Here's a D major lick. An F major 7 lick. You're taking a 2-5-1 lick from the lowest part of the saxophone up to the altissimo register. D minor 7, G7. If you want to check more altissimo register, I really recommend you to check these videos. Play music and have fun.